we're hearing now is Web 3. Policymakers need to understand the nature of Web 3.
Obviously, Web 3 and the smart contract layer 1 ecosystems are getting the most adoption.
I want to talk about a project specifically, Flux.
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 Bing, bang, boom, pow!
We've got our GPU mining portfolio, Flux still in that top spot.
Today, I'm going to show you guys how to mine Flux.
And guys, have you seen that like mining Flux is crazy profitable right now?
Flux has taken off in the last few days. As you guys can see, it has skyrocketed.
Flux has mooned over $1. I could not believe it.
We were, like yesterday or the day before, making $7, $8, $9 more using Flux than Ethereum. That's not a little bit of money, guys. You know, $1 or $2, you're kind of like, but $7, $8, $10, if it ever hits something like that, that's when you're kind of like, ooh, man, this is actually something you need to look into.
We are on the 11th month of running our Flux node currently.
There's 3 tiers. You've got Cumulus, Nimbus, Stratus. They are going to be adding another node tier.
I am still cleaning house with my Flux nodes. Right now, a Stratus node is making $2,817 per month in Flux rewards. And each Nimbus node is making $681 per month in Flux rewards.
It's up over 130% today. And everyone's been asking what is going on with Flux.
Come over here, you see they have an actual ecosystem that's thriving.
Flux Lock dropping that NVIDIA news yesterday, that Jetson, woo, that's going to be something.
The Flux blockchain will provide on-chain governance, economics, and parallel assets for interoperability with other blockchains and DeFi access.
The purpose of supporting these parallel assets is to allow users to take advantage of all the benefits from each chain, such as higher throughput, more developed DeFi ecosystems, and much more.
Flux runs on its native currency of the same name that uses an open source proof of work algorithm, and the team has made efforts to stay as decentralized as possible with no venture capital investors and no corporate board of directors.
With Flux being listed on Binance and users now being able to deposit and trade Flux tokens on the smart chain, the social volume has skyrocketed as well and put the community on notice for a potentially bright future for this token and its decentralized cloud infrastructure.
Have been talking with Flux, and they're done by Selco. They do a number of our different programs. They run the incentivized node program so that you can run a full node and receive KDA for it. Think of them like a decentralized Amazon type of thing. And they've been very useful for KDA, and we've enjoyed working with them for the past 2 years. I mean, if we're the next settlement layer, we're the settlement layer of the future, that might make you the Amazon of the future.
Definitely a shout out to the guys at Flux and Zelcore. We enjoyed working with them as well.
Aujourd'hui, je vais vous présenter en détail ce qu'est le projet Flux.
Что за 10 параллельных цепочек? Имеется в виду другие сети, то есть вы добываете Flux в сети Flux, да?
In dieser Folge, wie versprochen, das Flux Mining Tutorial mit allen wichtigen Infos, die ihr braucht, um hier Flux zu minen. Viel Spaß und bis gleich.
Aquí tiene un pago mínimo a partir de los 5 Flux minados, te van a pagar
3950 तक भी गया था हमारा hash rate 36 TI पे 41 and 34.7.
É um projeto aí que traz para a nova geração uma melhor escalabilidade e descentralização aí a respeito da tecnologia em nuvem, da infraestrutura da tecnologia em nuvem.
We are live. Ollie, good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Dan.
Man, did you see I peeked up in the middle of the intro there? My face just shot up real quick. I look so confused. So let's hope I'm not confused on the call. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Power Hour with Dan. So we're doing something a little different this week than we normally do. We're still going to do an AMA and we're going to follow it up. But I thought because of everything happening and everything going on in the Flux world, that it'd be great for me to give this a little bit behind the scenes of some of the things that are happening. That, you know, you can look at a roadmap and you can say, well, it looks like they're working on X, Y, and Z. But what I'd like to do is expand that a little further and share with the community exactly where are we with these things we're working on, and give you a little bit of an update on it. So first of all, I want to welcome everybody. Thank you guys for joining today. Please take your time, like and share. The more people that we can reach, the better. Let's get the word out there about Flux. So let's get started. So as you saw in the intro, one of the big things coming up is the halving. So it actually is. We're in the halving right now. Ooh, it's in the halving. So it started. We are in the halving process now. We have listed the dates in the community update area. So the 12th of March at the block height of, I'm not going to say the block heights because it's ridiculous. I'm going to lose track of it. But the 12th, 13th is going to be the Cumulus, and then the new benchmark will be released on the 13th. The 19th is the Nimbus. The 26th is the Cumulus. The 27th is the Stratus transition period. The 4th of April is the Nimbus transition period ends. And oh man, I screwed this all up. Just go look at it. You'll understand it when you're reading it. It sounds kind of confusing when I'm telling it. Long story short, from now till the 10th of April, we're going to be in the halving process. So what does that look like? Well, I believe personally, I think we're going to see 10,000 plus nodes on Flux, and that's absolutely insane. So I'm very excited for that. If you have questions about whether or not your node will meet specs, we have a testnet community set up on Discord. Come on in, get some testnet coins. You'll feel rich for a little while you have all your testnet coins, and then test it out. See, make sure you meet benchmark. Make sure your specs are up to date. So this is a big deal. This is our hard scaling. So we've talked about in the past our soft scaling, which is our parallel asset platform. We'll talk about that next. And this is our hard scaling. So this is how we scale our network. So our rough numbers are at this point in the scaling, we can run over a million different deployments on Flux network. So we stand about 5,000 plus instances running today. So we've got a lot of room to grow, and we've got a lot of good things coming to use up that space. So we need to make some changes there for sure. So we'll come back in the AMA and talk a little bit. If anybody has questions about any of the things that I'm going to address at the beginning of the meeting, please just hold your questions, and we'll come back and we'll answer them. Ollie and I will do a little AMA. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the snapshot. So we have the halving, which is huge, and it's just eating everybody's time up like ridiculously. But it's going to be so worth it in the end. But the snapshot comes right after that. So we wrap up the halving around the 10th, and then right after that on May 5th, we're doing our snapshot. So right now, Terra Luna and Avalanche will be the 2 assets. So will be snapshot. So the question that everybody's going to ask is, okay, if the snapshot's the 5th, when do they release the assets? And that's yet to be determined. So we always take our time. We do have a framework in place for our parallel assets. So every time we do these, we get a little bit better at doing them because we've done them and we know exactly what we're doing and how we're looking at things. So I envision, let's say a month or 2 months down the road where the assets would become available in Fusion, you'll be able to start claiming and moving them back to main chain, or providing liquidity in liquidity pools, or participating in the networks that they've been issued on. So we're super excited about that. And one of the other things that's being worked on in the background is this node halving. So we have the node halving, and then we have the snapshot right after that. And then right in the mix of all of this is Project Titan. So there's been a lot of questions around Project Titan. Is like, what is Project Titan and how does it work? And, why is it important for the growth of decentralization and Flux in the community? Project Titan will allow us to, and I've said this from the beginning, to work with Web 2 legacy-based infrastructure while we deploy on Web 3. So the closest analogy I can use to this is the way that we did our transitional period when we went from bare metal servers that were sitting in a server room that ran your business model and had a connection to the internet, to cloud infrastructure. So as we moved from that bare metal infrastructure to that cloud infrastructure, we're still not completely all the way there. So let's say for the better part of 10 years, we've been convincing individuals that were deploying large amounts of bare metal that the cloud was just as good, if not better. So we're even now working through that process. So I envision the next iteration of Web 2 moving into Web 3, we're going to have these symbiotic relationships with these legacy players. Project Titan is definitely targeted toward enterprise infrastructure that want to start to migrate their business plan, their infrastructure, their support model for their community and for their customers, because ultimately people are asking for Web3 and they need to be able to provide a service. So I see a world where we're not fighting against Web 2. We're actually working in tandem with Web 2 to make a natural transition, a natural progress to move toward Web 3. Why is that important for Project Titan? Project Titan allows large players already in the space that already have a footprint in Web 2 to be able to start looking at and working with Web 3. So that's our ultimate goal. Is we want to evangelize what Web 3 can do, and we'll sit in every board meeting everywhere and talk about why Web 3 is so important. So Project Titan is happening behind the scenes while nobody is even seeing this, but this is all being worked on. So you'll see more about Project Titan and its release and why it's important as we get through the node halving and we start into deploying these different pieces. The other piece of that is the Cirrus Nodes. So we talk a lot about Project Titan because that's huge, because it's Web 2, Web 3 working together, yada, yada, yada. But the Cirrus Nodes are important too, because that's going to allow just anybody to participate in the network. For 5 Flux, you'll be able to stand up a Raspberry Pi or a Jetson, or Vulture did like Ollie, did you see that? Vulture did like that ultra super like $100 computer, and he got a node running on it.
Oh yes.
I mean, like, I don't want to hear anyone's excuses they can't run a node. If he can buy a $100 computer off of Amazon and deploy a node on it, you all can too. And I see the comments about how it's hard to deploy a node. Well, guess what? Blockchain wasn't made to be easy. This is something. The reliance we have on our node operators. You are a decentralized systems administrator. You are the lifeblood of this project. You are the lifeblood of decentralization. So guess what? That means you have to educate yourself. You have to be involved. You have to be participatory. You have to understand the project inside and out. You have to come to these meetings. You have to understand, and you'll be rewarded highly for doing that and participating in the network. So those are important things. So people ask me all the time, they're like, Dan, can we get one-click deployment nodes? No, we're not going to have that. It's factual. because it's a lot harder to do a Flux node than it is to stand up some Ponzi scheme bullshit node that burns your coins and pretends to give you a high rate of return until it all collapses. That we're not them. We're not them. So, if you're a miner and you're listening to this, you're like, preach on, brother, because miners have had to teach themselves. I remember the first graphics card I ever got, I had to figure out how to get that into a computer, and then I had to figure out how to get it all set up and get Hive and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, when that card starts hashing, you're like, oh, this is amazing. So it's the same way with nodes. You got to put the sweat equity into it. You just do. So are we going to work on our side to make it a lot easier for people to deploy nodes? Yes, we are. We'll always do that. We want people to use the platform, and we want the people to use the platform effectively. But we also do not want to bottle feed, and we also don't want people participating in it that are in here for the wrong reason. Everyone can participate in this. But if you're coming in here for the hype cycle and massive returns on your investment, and if you want to be involved in a Ponzi scheme, we're not for you. So don't do that. So educate yourself, listen, ask questions in Discord. Ollie, we have a service desk now too, for God's sakes. If you got a help desk call, or a help desk thing that you need help with on your node, submit a ticket. These are all things that we're doing to make your life easier.
Yeah, I agree on that, Dan. As well, we're also working towards the easiness of setting up a nodes. It's not going to be one click, but we're just trying to make it easier for somebody to set up, especially the newcomers, right? So we're going to make it something better. But again, it's always at the end of the day, it's up to the node operators to take care of the nodes, especially when the network is always going through upgrades. It's their responsibility. It is not something you set up and you just forget about it. You constantly have to manage it and monitor it, right? And that's how you learn. And it's honestly speaking, and it's not that difficult. I mean, people do find difficulty because that's the first time it's setting up a node. But once you're done with it, it becomes easy the second time. But again, we will try to make it much simpler, much better, and user friendly. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and I don't know, Ollie. I mean, I know there's probably all my miners out there and node operators who are currently running nodes are like, yeah, it's really not that hard once you've done it one time and you've went through the process. It's kind of like, getting tattoos. I don't know if you guys, but you get one tattoo and it's just one tattoo. But there's never just one tattoo. Yeah, you get one Flux node and you're going to want another and another and another. And I saw somebody in the comments make the quote, "Nothing in life is worth having." Japper said that. And boy, isn't that the truth? Because we're just super transparent with all of the people in this project. This isn't for everyone. It just isn't. You know what I mean? To run a node. It's hard. It's hard work. So, I'm not gonna continue touting, that we're gonna have these super easy deployments. Technology is iterative. The way you deploy a node today and the structure that you're doing running your node today is not what it's going to look like next year. It will be iterative. We will constantly be upgrading these nodes. We will constantly be asking you to do more as node operators, and we'll make sure that we do our part to make sure you're highly incentivized for that. It's the same way with miners, and as difficulties go up, things change. It's just part of the space. So we've got to be comfortable with the unknown sometimes, and we have to be comfortable with change. That's just the way it goes. So all the folks out there that are asking about, nodes and them being hard to set up, I'm sorry, but, I'd love to give you some, pie in the sky bullshit scenario where we talk about, one-click deployments and everybody is, in harmony across the world. Hey, it's hard work, guys. We're early on, Will that be something someday? Maybe. Who knows? I don't know where it's at, where we're at 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now. I will say this. It's gotten a hell of a lot easier. Ollie, do you remember setting up your first node?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean,
It's
if you
terrifying.
guys were there back in those days,
It's
it
terrifying.
was next to impossible setting
Oh
it
my
up. I used to
God.
just pull my hair, though, and especially when we take into consideration the Camille X4 script, the multi toolbox, it makes it very easy. You just gotta follow 1, 2, 3, and that's about it. It's done. I totally understand. I mean, I know a lot of YouTubers out there been expressing their feelings in terms of setting up a node not being easy. and they were determining and kind of like saying, it should be a one-click setup. It should be a one-click setup. All I can
Yeah,
say
but
again is it's not that difficult. I mean, it's really not. And we have a whole community that backs up in Discord. I mean, we have ticketing, we have core team members, we have devs always helping around you guys. So if you have any questions, I don't see a reason why that it should be difficult for you. I mean,
oh man,
it's
nothing pisses me off more than when I'm sitting there scrolling through Discord and I see somebody who's they've done no research on any of the project and they start asking all these random questions. And I love how the community responds. Ollie, I don't know if you've picked up on this or not, but they're like, I started doing this a long time ago when people would come in and they'd want to be spoon-fed information about your project. I'd give them the link to our Medium, our YouTube, or whatever, and say, I'll see you in 3 days. You go down this rabbit hole. You go learn about it. And if you have questions that aren't answered in this content, you come back and you ask. And I guarantee you will already know the answer, or you will just need clarifying points. And I'll tell you, the community jumped right on that. And that's kind of what they do. They do help you if you have like legitimate, I'm trying to do this questions and you're struggling with something. But I tell you, we don't spoon feed people. We want people to be eyes wide open when they come into this project. I saw a guy yesterday who was like posting on Telegram. I think he says, I went and I just bought 10,000 flux. Tell me about the project. And I'm like, holy shit, please don't do that.
I was about to say that, Dan, and then Telegram and Discord are two different beasts, right? I mean,
they are,
Telegram
man.
is something that
chaos.
You need to have a blood pressure pill to actually work on Telegram. And a huge shout out to Bobby and Actor and other mods that are being very patient. And I scroll through every day and reading comments and questions. And honest to God, it's just the same question over and over again. You scroll up, and you'll find the answer. But people would not do their diligence. They would not do their research. They would just expect to come in and you want to have answers right away. I mean, you got to do your research. You are investing your money, your time, your energy into a project. Why not learn about it before asking questions? I'm not driving away people from project, but this is something they need to understand, that you need to spend time and learn about the project. We are not, we don't shy away of, answering questions you guys have, but spoon feeding, I don't actually like it that way. So
yeah, and amen, brother. Telegram's like the Wild West. I go in there if I need a dose of just something to shake the world up, because I leave there and I'm pissed off, I'm angry, I'm excited, I'm happy. It's like you come into Discord, it's so organized, you know what I mean? Everybody is just like real polite and nice and they're engaging. And then Telegram, it's just, oh my God.
It's a wild, wild west.
It's a wild, wild west. So isn't that crypto in a nutshell, man? You've got this wild, wild west, the cypherpunk folks out there, and then you've got like the business folks who know the practical application. So you got the speculators and you've got the, people that are pragmatic and they're building infrastructure, or they're helping with the blockchain overall. So that was kind of interesting. So anyway, I hope that answered some questions specifically around, node deployments. It is going to be easier with the Cirrus node to be able to deploy. Our ultimate goal is to use it as an educational tool and to get it out to people. So you'll see these in schools. You'll see these in, developing third world countries. You'll see them in different places where we can deploy infrastructure, help them learn and help them develop. And one of the big pieces of that is so here's spoiler alert, Ollie. It's 10 minutes into the thing, and I'm going to drop a bomb already. Are you ready?
Should I put a countdown timer?
Well, maybe. Look, I'll acknowledge one of the biggest struggles we've had in deploying a truly decentralized network the way that it should be is allowing people to run multiple nodes from one address, from one IP address, right? So if you're Dan Keller and he can only get 2 or 3 IP addresses, I can only run 2 or 3 nodes at my house, which is a huge setback because there are people that want to deploy and run multiple nodes in one location. And I'm telling you today that we have figured out a way to make multiple nodes run from one location. Now, is it going to be out tomorrow? Probably not. We've got a lot of testing to do. But the very first node stood up on the same network happened this morning. I screenshotted it just for the scrapbook, right? But you'll be able to run, I believe the limit's 10 nodes per IP. I think they are going to limit the total amount just to make sure that we continue to keep concentrating on decentralization. But how freaking cool is that, Ollie? You'll be able to deploy. If I got 5 Raspberry Pi sitting here, I'll be able to deploy 5 nodes on the network. That's huge.
I got goosebumps right here.
Yeah,
look at
right there. See, I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. That everybody, especially in the news right now, you turn the news on, it's all about deplatforming. I mean, what's going on in the Ukraine with Russia and people removing their financial access and all this other stuff. You have this crazy stuff happening. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about the importance of decentralization. We're like, hey, we told you this 4 years ago, guys. This is going to be a real deal. Anyone on this call knows, if you've listened to me say before, there would be a critical epiphany moment where we would realize how important decentralization in Web3 is. Guys, we are there. This is happening. You're watching the Ukraine get donations and Bitcoin and Ethereum to help them fund. I mean, this is a country we're talking about, guys. I mean, this is huge. If you don't see what's happening in front of us, it's crazy. But on the heels of that, you're going to see some challenges around when people can't control things, they can't sanction things, they throw up these roadblocks. They're going to get real sketchy real quick. And this is the best thing to happen to us because it allows us to showcase exactly what true decentralization is, what a true network for the people by the people is and does. And this is what we've been waiting for. So, I'm excited. I think this is going to be huge for the project moving forward. I think if we can cascade our message appropriately, I think that we can evangelize and we can build on top of this. And I can tell you right now, people are noticing, guys. It really is insane. So good stuff there. We're heading toward more decentralization, and we always will. That will always be our focus. So the Cirrus Nodes is just another way for people to participate and to be able to develop on the ecosystem. So super excited about that. Now I got to get moving because I got a lot of shit to cover. So the next one we're working on, as we talked about the nodes being, a little bit hard to deploy, but they're getting easier and, more folks are coming in. We got 10,000 people that are going to be standing up nodes on main chain. I'm anticipating another 10,000 on the Cirrus nodes. So, I mean, we could have 20,000 nodes by, the middle of this year is what I'm thinking. That's huge. We would, by hands down, be the largest decentralized network. We'd have the ability to process over 1 million instances at one time on the main chain. We'd be 5 times that on the Cirrus chain because we'd be able to do AI, edge compute, rendering. We'll have the ability on the Cirrus side to add additional hardware. So, all kinds of awesome stuff. It's just really a playground for everything. And you have businesses that are going to come in that want to utilize and deploy on that network. So the Cirrus network is going to look a little bit different than the enterprise network. It's the 3-node tier that we have today, and then the Cirrus is over here, and then Titan's on the other side. So super excited about that. But the big piece of that to make this all successful, Project Jetpack. What is Project Jetpack? You've heard me talk about it before. I've alluded to it before. Project Jetpack allows developers to come to the space and very easily, seamlessly, 4 steps, deploy their application that's been Dockerized on Flux. It is going to make... Can I share a screen on here, Ollie?
Yes, you can.
Let me see if I can...
So you should see a share on the bottom, and then you should click on... Is it a slide or is it just a screen?
Yeah, crap. I'll just I'll upload it. Everybody that's listening, go check out the Discord later. I'll drop it in there. I have a mock-up of what the new onboarding process for Flux is going to be, and it is sick. We have an entire team. So Jeff K, Little Stash, X4, all these guys, their sole focus. We have a new Daz that is unbelievably. I mean, they're just putting this stuff together. Wait till you see it. It's going to blow your fucking mind. Like, it blew my mind. Like, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, this is what we were looking for. This is, I am Joe Dev who built something and I Dockerize it, and I want to be in Web3. I am now a Web3 developer because I deployed on Flux. Big freaking deal, guys. It's very exciting. So Jetpack should be out within the next 2 weeks. That's the ultimate goal. Vader, I wanted to mention Vader on that as well. So give big shout out to Vader on that as well. So, and the Project Titan team, Blonde Frogs, Jeff K, Greggy Bear, all those guys that are working on that, they're doing an excellent job on that as well. Huge, just a massive. Jay Riggs is another one. Just a massive lift, and they're getting involved in it, and it really is exciting to see. So Jetpack is coming.
So that Jetpack, Dan, is that couple of screenshots you were looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to share it?
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Oh shit, Ollie, you're so good.
Let me just share this right now. Okay.
I think it always is good for them to see it and visualize. Now, guys, keep in mind, this is a rough draft. You guys are seeing, this is behind the scenes, like super behind the scenes. Like, this is the rough draft of the first iteration. So this isn't even built out completely yet. So this is just super, super new.
Wow. Is that the one?
That's the one. Is there a way? Because it's
I'm trying to zoom in. Yeah, let's see if I can find a way to zoom in here. Oops.
That's too much, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can.
I don't think it will.
It will, right?
Might have to do it as a PDF.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Maybe I can show you like this.
So this would be essentially, and sorry for the graininess, guys, but we'll put the actual one up in the announcements channel. This would be when you go to the main site and you click deploy. So you'd have get started, deploy, and your cost calculator to show you what you're gonna. Anyone that's used like AWS or DigitalOcean or anyone like this feels familiar, right? This is kind of the same. So go to the next slide there, Ollie. So once you've start your journey, we might change that verbiage to start your journey in Web3 today. So that would be kind of a cool little, loop into Web3. You basically tell us about your application. What is it and what does it do? And then we would move on to the next step. So that's step one. Then we would work on walking you through the process for configuration. And the one thing I want to mention too is you can't see it in this slide, but there are always ongoing help pieces at the bottom. So it's, it'll link to videos, it'll link to tutorials, it'll link to our wiki, so that if somebody wants to dig deeper into particular items of why this is, they can go and they can find that immediately. So you'll start your configuration here, and then you go into step 3, and that's how do we connect. So you're going to connect. So you're going to get the ultimate goal is to get everything shoved into one setup at the beginning, and then you do your deploy at the end. So how do we connect? You put your information on there, and then you head to step 4, which is basically deployment on the network. And this is, we call it finally the Flux part, right? So this gets down to the nitty gritty. This will deploy your Zell ID. This will give you the ability to stand your DApp up, and this will also act as the payment settlement. So to deploy, what's the cost to deploy like a pre-search node, Ollie? Like 0.1 flux. It's ridiculous. One flux.
Yes.
Price is going up, man. So super cheap. We are going to be removing the requirements for the staking, so you're not going to have to stake the 100 flux anymore. What we are going to do is require if you pay for the platform for 6 months and you stay with it, you'll get all your money back for your 6 months, and then you renew for the next 6 months and you do it. So we're trying to reduce the areas where there would be some level of centralization unless we can deploy this on a smart chain, which we could eventually do, or a smart contract. We're just going to make it super simple. You run it for 6 months, you'll get a reimbursement. Simple as that. And it makes it free to deploy, meets our business case. It helps people learn how to use Flux, the asset, so that they're feeling, I got to go get Flux. I got to get, so all good things there. So that's a little bit about how the onboarding process is going to change. And I'm like really super excited with what the Jetpack guys are doing. They're really putting together a good premium product. Big shout out to them. I think it's going to be huge for us moving forward. We talked about the multi-node support. So that's huge. First time you guys are the first ones hearing it today. That's a big freaking deal. And the other thing is while all this is transpiring, we're still working on all the labs projects. So if you haven't checked out the website for the labs yet, go do it today. It's crazy. Some of the things we're working with Atlas, and they are starting to deploy their infrastructure. Ollie, I think they deployed their DApp and their website to Flux recently, I believe. It's crazy. I see these things pop up in GitHub, or I get the update that it's there, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's Flux. That's cool. So we've got working with multiple NFT projects to bring people like everybody knows how I feel about NFTs, but I realize that people are the NFT technology, the underlying fundamentals, the underpinnings of NFTs is important. But we're using centralized infrastructure to deploy what we deem as decentralized NFT smart contracts, things like that. That's not going to work. If OpenSeas gets hacked, you lose your NFT, right? These are all ran on legacy web-based or Web 2 infrastructure. Flux is working to fix that. You will be eventually able to deploy your NFTs directly out of Zelcore, store them, buy them, sell them, trade them. You'll also be able to, NFTs really are two parts. You got the smart contract that's deployed on whatever blockchain. For instance, we're going to be using Solana as our NFT, kind of infrastructure. And then, but it could easily be anyone, right? You could put multiple people in there. So let's say we want to put Cadena in there. Cadena would be another logical one. Some of the things that they're doing with, what's it called? Mango. They're doing NFTs and it's growing quite a bit. I could see that. So whether, I want to deploy an NFT on this chain, this chain, this chain, this chain. But the big piece is deploying the storage of whatever that NFT is on a decentralized network, and that will be Flux. So that's one of our pieces we're going to concentrate on probably Q3 of this year, deploying an actual storage solution for, somebody just threw up Terra. That's another one. Yeah, that's a good one. Kind of weird that we picked them as a parallel asset, don't you think? So maybe we knew something. Anyway, long story short is, you're going to be able to store the actual NFT in a decentralized infinity contract on Flux that will be able to be accessed directly in Zelcore. That, my friends, is how NFTs should be done. They shouldn't be executed on a platform that's completely centralized and has tons of vulnerability. The whole purpose behind NFTs is they are forever. Finality, right? You create an NFT, you deploy it on as a smart contract on a blockchain. It stays there forever until you choose to move it to a different place. So it's important that infrastructure that runs the back end of that is decentralized as well. So we saw a really creepy. Well, it was kind of creepy to me. I got a little bit upset about it. Is what was it? MetaMask that was. They started blocking people from Venezuela from their platform. I didn't get a clear answer to why the hell that was. Did you see that, Ollie? Did you see that, the whole thing?
Yeah, I heard that. I don't know much about detail, but I thought MetaMask was decentralized, so I was wrong.
It's not, man. It's not. And I've been saying that forever, man. I've been telling everybody. I said, hey, Uniswap, who claims to be a decentralized exchange, AWS goes down and they take a shit. Why is that? Because they're not decentralized, Ollie. They're just not. So, our goal is we need to fill in that gap. We need to be that stopgap. We need to be that, forever chain that allows people to go to bed at night knowing their assets and their NFTs are forever theirs. And that's the way it is. Nobody can interfere with that. So those are important things to see. So what do we got coming up? So we got all this. I just talked for like 20 minutes about all the stuff happening behind the scenes. And I didn't even get to a fraction of what's happening with labs. There's updates to coin requests. There's, Project Paradigm that's getting ready to release its white paper and its proof of concept. I'm not even going to get into that, guys, but that's going to be some fun stuff too. So we have all these things happening behind the scenes. So what do we see coming up next? So a couple of the big things coming up next is we, as a community, when you want to start, we added Betty as our new chief marketing officer. So we're announcing that she will become, if you know Betty, she's everywhere and anywhere. She's on Facebook, she's on LinkedIn, she's on Twitter, she's on Discord, she's on Telegram. She is everywhere and anywhere, and she earned that CMO, that marketing officer position. And I'm telling you, I'm super, super excited to have her joining the team. She's really doing a good job. Our marketing and PR is crushing it. Like they really are, guys. Where's the bear market? Are we in a bear market? Because I don't see it. All I see is a crap ton of opportunities. It's super exciting. So, Betty's joining the team. We've added about 5 new developers to Flux. So, I mean, we're continuing to just build up. I mean, every day I see somebody new coming in saying, I think I'm going to start doing halftime, and helping out with Flux, or I think I'm going to quit my job and go full time on Flux because that's I want to be in Web3. We have big players in the space who have people coming to us and asking for jobs, which is interesting, and you're going to see a couple of them coming up. So, it's a revolution. Like, and I'm not just saying that because this is our project, right? I'm not saying that. There is a revolution, and you're seeing it happen right now. People are starting to finally get the importance of decentralization and Web3. And when you start getting major governments talking about it, we're in the spotlight. So good, bad, or indifferent, we're gonna pound it out.
And then last on our dev meeting last Saturday, I was surprised to see so many dev in there. I was just like, wow. Half the one, I don't even know half of these people. And then you shared that screenshot on Discord. I was just like, man, is it actually devs in here? Is it a dev meeting? Is it an entire core team meeting? Like, what's going on? Like, it was 21 people in there.
Yes. And go ahead, Ollie. I'm sorry.
And I was just like, our team page doesn't justify it because we're not yet updated it, I think. But, we have more people working in the background. And I was just like super excited and surprised about it.
Yep. And when we used to have our dev meetings, it was like 5 people in there. And, I'd spend 15 minutes talking about how, I know you guys can't believe this, but I actually like talking in the dev meetings, right? I talk about, why it's important to do what we're doing. I give them this little pep talk and get them up and, get them going. And then they'd roll out on Saturday and they just would jam. The last 2 or 3 dev meetings I've been to, I've never even talked. And that's important because these guys are already doing what I was doing for such a long period of time. They're already seeing how important it. And one of the things I talked about to Trunk about is we're going to start having some transparent dev meetings as well, where we allow people to come in from the community and participate and listen to the dev meetings. I think that's important. We're fully transparent. We like to get our community involved. And if you guys are bored one, Saturday morning or whatever it is, and you want to come in and see the oil and the grease that makes it all work, I think it's important to do that. So we're going to work on that. And I think the other thing we're going to do is do a monthly dev update. So a little bit like these AMAs, but I think it's going to be more around the development of the project. So the fundamentals of what's happening from a technology standpoint. I think that's super important as well. So
I would say a monthly newsletter would be great for the community.
Yeah. And our content development has gotten much better too. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to troll around and look at all the different things that have been released about Flux, but man, that intro is right on. I mean, we are even in the highest spaces. I can tell you, Flux is on the radar. Some of the calls that I've had over the past 3 weeks with people that I would have never in a million years thought, this fast, this rapidly, that we'd be sitting having conversations with these key strategic people in the space. And that's exciting to me. So I love to share that with y'all, and I will as we get more information. I know that we have a couple fairly large announcements coming up within the next couple weeks. Ollie, you know it.
I was about to say that, Dan, you're hiding a lot of stuff right now. You don't even like say anything today. You
Oh,
haven't
it's
leaked
tough.
anything. I'm surprised.
That's
At
what
least you would leak at least one or two things. You
That's what
didn't do anything this time. You're getting better at it.
that's what NDAs do. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to
Yeah.
piss them off. And like, we're still in the honeymoon, right? We got to make sure that we're doing it right and by their rules, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, huge things and partnership and things are coming for Flux. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
super excited, really.
And then just a couple other, and then we'll hit a little bit of AMA. We got a little bit of time left. I just wanted to remind everybody tonight, we are going to start doing regular poker tournaments. The last poker tournament was huge. I want to say there was 4 tables or 5 tables when it was all said and done. Betty and Lisa and Rome are kind of taking the lead on that and getting that stuff. And you know what's cool about that poker tournament, Ollie? It all runs on Flux. It's totally bizarre to me. Like, the first time I launched it, I'm like sitting there in the middle of the game and I'm like, wow, this is pretty damn nice, and it runs on Flux. So this is exactly what we hit. This guy says he misses Leaky Dan. Hey man, I'm Leaky. You already found out about the nodes today, so let's just call the devs are probably sitting there shaking their head, looking at me like I'm crazy. But oh well.
And one thing I just saw in the comment, people saying about it'll be very nice to run nodes on Windows, and I think we are.
Are you
going
gonna
to
leak?
towards that.
Are you gonna leak?
Okay, I'm not. Dan, you're good at it. You leak.
No, go Ollie, man. I tell you, I love. Deniable plausibility, right? I'm like, I didn't. Ollie said it. I didn't. Go ahead.
So there is a possibility that we might be able to run nodes on Windows. It's not going to be. I don't think so. It's going to be on Windows, but underlying, I think the Linux will still be
like
running
an
in the background.
Emulator, yeah, like an emulator. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I've seen it work. It works.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it work.
Okay.
Jeff K was working on it, and he got it up and running, and he sent me like all the screenshots for it. So I think you'll. The long story short is you're going to see Windows deployment in an emulation, and I guess the word's emulator. I don't know. They're they don't let me dev much, so emulator. It's going to emulate Linux and. So yeah, so I think you'll see Windows deployment. So Ryan Matta, if you're listening. And you have, you said it only like 650 million times. You want to run it on Windows. We're doing it for you, bud. It's just for you. Just for you. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, our ultimate goal is to use as much hardware as humanly possible. And to do that, we have to be able to make it as deployable as possible. And people have decent servers, Windows servers, that they're just sitting around there. They could easily run a node or two. And so this is going to make, that possible for them to deploy in a little bit more seamless way than what they're doing now. So,
and we always listen to the community. We're not trying to make things difficult, Dan. It's just these things takes time, right?
Oh my God. It's like brand new.
It's just, if you don't hear from us and whatever your demand is and whatever you're asking for, if you don't talk about it, doesn't mean it's not happening in the background. We just don't want to announce it till it's done.
Yeah, right? Just calm down and breathe, man. Because if one thing you haven't learned from this team for the past 4 years is the fact that when we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it. Right? It may be off by a couple days. It may be not exactly the way we looked at it to begin with. But anytime you have iterative technology, you've got to be patient. You've got to be understanding, and you've got to be involved, because one of the guys that is a huge player on the dev team right now who came to us, he saw a need, and you can find, he's the W2VE guy. He came in and he said, hey, I think I can help you with the deploying multiple nodes from one address, because I've been in IT my entire life, and I'm looking for something that, is a passion project. And I really think that this is huge for decentralization. Can I help? Not only did he help, he's now part of the team, and he's helped leading that. That's how this community works. If you come in and you show that you can do it, and we're going to put you right in a spot, and we're going to make you do it. So a big, huge shout out to those guys for making that happen. So, yeah. All right. Leaky Ollie, you get the title today. So, that's good news. The other major thing is Flux is going to Miami. More appropriately, Dan is going to Miami, and a bunch of the Flux people as well. I'm doing what I've always went against in my entire, I've been to crypto conferences.
You like to stay away from it, Dan. I know that. I know that.
However, there is a reason why Miami is important. And if you know how much I hate going to these conferences, it is damn important if Dan is getting up and going to Miami to meet with some people, right? These are important things. These are important moments. So if you're interested, Miami, we're going to be doing a meetup. So we're going to be doing a street team. So essentially we'll be gathering, we've got, I think, almost 30 plus people that have already volunteered for the street team. What's the street team going to do? Well, you're going to be handing out t-shirts. You're going to be handing out, we're going to get these little cards printed, and for Zelcore and for Flux, we'll be giving away free swag. We honestly just look, if you've been in the Bitcoin space long enough, remember what those street teams look like meeting up with people, explaining what Bitcoin was, explaining how it worked. If you're super interested, there used to be a documentary on Netflix called Banking on Bitcoin. And you saw their street team and kind of what they're doing. And I'll never forget it. There's this lady, she's standing out there, and one of the guys from the Bitcoin team comes up and says, "Where do you buy your Bitcoin at?" And she's like, "I don't even know what the hell Bitcoin is." And he starts to explain it, and she reaches in her pocket and she grabs $1 bill and she snaps it like that. She goes, "I put my faith in this, in the US dollar." And she shoves it back into her pocket. So Curious Dan was like, "When was this filmed?" So I went back and I pulled it up, and Bitcoin was like around $400 when she snapped her $1 bill. How'd that work out for her? I'm just saying, she would have bought one damn Bitcoin. She would have been in pretty good shape. But our job is to be a evangelists of Flux. We get in people's faith, not get in a negative way. We're educational way. We get in their face. We get them comfortable with Web3. We'll spend a good part of the first day training the street team so that they know what they're doing. Like I said, t-shirts, swag. We're going to have a meetup, an education meetup, and we have a lot of our key players coming to. We're going to do at the City Cigar, which is it's pretty nice. We're going to have a nice little meetup there. You can meet the team and all that kind of stuff. And then the one thing that we haven't announced yet is we're going to have educational training. So, if you go to these conferences, these things are like $2,500 to walk in the door. It's ridiculous. Like, I just get so pissed off when I see it. It's just outrageous. I get it, right? You're paying for the access. But I would rather have an event at the same time called Concurrence. We're going to do a concurrence event where we're going to have some really good key individuals in the space who are willing to come speak, and free. So that's the way it should be, right? So people can come educate themselves. I'll be there. We'll have, I can't tell you who the list of people is yet, but it's going to be a good one. That'll be about a half-day event. So if you're looking to come to Miami, if you're looking to help out, reach out to us. We're excited to have you. We have a Eventbrite page. You can go. It's in the announcements. You can go up and sign up if you'd like to come. So that's a little bit about what's happening with the project. A lot of stuff. One of the other things we're going to do is update we want to get the updated roadmap out within the next week or two, just with a little bit more color to, some of these things that we're talking about, give some more definition to Jetpack and some pieces like that. So, Ollie, we got a little bit of time left. Let's take a few questions let's just take them from the audience. And then we're going to have to schedule another AMA for all the folks who dropped them in the AMA. Sorry, guys. We'll do it like Tuesday night or something like that.
All right. So let me go through these questions. And Dan, we have over 215 people watching the stream.
Oh man, we're getting bigger every week. It gets a little bit more. You guys should be definitely liking, sharing this, bringing people into the conversation. Our replays have really gone out of the roof too. So I'm super excited people are freaking out because the crypto prices are up and down because there's a war going on in Europe. This isn't a bear market, guys. It isn't. I don't see it anywhere, any way, shape, or form. So keep educating yourself. do your due diligence, do your research, dollar cost average, do the smart things, get yourself in a position in projects you believe in, and you'll be good. You'll be good. So,
all right. So I got this. Actually, nobody posted out that many questions, so I'm still scrolling through it. There's one question I see here. I'll just put on the screen.
wait, I like this one. Okay, do you do that one, and then I want to do John Smith, which
Okay.
is about the running autonomous.
Okay, so this question is about what do you think about lowering the upload download speed users to run a node? Now, unfortunately, ISP probably gives them 8 megabit per second upload speed for home internet connections. Also, we don't have any staking options from Turkey.
No, we're not gonna change it. I'm being quite honest. I mean, we need these nodes to be readily available, and part of that is the demand for the bandwidth. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just kind of how it is. We looked at when we were going over the halving details, and we did look at the speed, and what it comes down to is the more applications deployed on the network, the more readily available we need to have those nodes. Meaning, they're going to get high traffic. One of the things we found out with KDA and with their chain web data and their full node and all this other stuff that we run is these high demand processes. They need that bandwidth. So yeah, I don't see a change there. Sorry. But the staking issue, eventually you'll be able to participate with our shared nodes. That's part of Project Titan as well, which is. I didn't even get into that, Ollie. We'll have to bring that up some other time. But yeah, you'll be able to run on Project Titan. You'll be able to stake like, I don't know, a couple hundred flux and then, deploy a node.
I mean, if it's home hosting, it's a bit difficult because of ISP challenges. I think there's always VPS out there that has, relatively less price, and we can deploy till we figure out. You guys figure out what the issue is.
Let's grab John's question there because I think that's important, especially at the time. It's
can you click on that one, Dan, if you can, because I cannot find that question.
I'm not logged in. It's not going to let me. So.
Oh, it's not. John, can you post your question one more time so I can just grab it from the most recent one? So because I have to.
Well, here I'll just read it out.
You want to read it out?
Yeah. Okay. Now I lost it. Holy shit.
You lost it.
Will Flux ever run anonymous without the need for the Flux executive team? Flux is today. I mean, essentially, the Flux team is we help build and develop on the platform. But if another company wanted to come in and build and develop on the platform, they could do it, right? So the ultimate goal is to get this to the point where the XDAO runs and executes whatever the terms of service is for the community, and that we continue as developers to develop on the project, but we're doing it in our own business model. Many people don't know this, but Flux is just like Bitcoin. It is just a community-based asset. The team themselves have a private company that they utilize to do business, and you have to have one in the world, right? But you could easily take them out, and you could add anyone else or no one. So that's the good thing about Flux is it's open source. There is a closed source component with Benchmark, but I mean, you could easily see that in the future eventually become, an open source part of the project as well, but it's hard to say. So, I mean, our ultimate goal is if Dan gets hit by a bus and, this project goes on forever. And that is exactly how we're building it out. That's why it's so important to continue to sow the seeds of decentralization.
All right. So next question is, I just got this question. What is the biggest challenge for 2022 and what is the catalyst we might have this year to push the Flux price before the rewards halving next February?
I don't mess with price. I don't even talk about price. Like, honestly, I couldn't even tell you what Flux is going for right now. I don't even care. The only time I'll ever even engage in price is when I, maybe go into my Zelcore and I'm doing something in there. Because we're all so early, it's irrelevant. When I was a kid, I mowed grass. I got 30 cents to mow a lawn. Didn't seem like much, right? Like literally 30 cents. And I didn't even think about it much. I just shoved it in the piggy bank. And because I knew that the 30 cents itself wasn't much, but as it continued to grow and accumulate and, I'd have some, and I eventually saved up and I got, my very first car. So, I mean, we're so early on, don't count your pennies in the bank. You just throw them in, you keep moving forward. and you don't worry much about it. And by the way, if you're running nodes or you're running or mining and you're doing these different things, you don't really care about the price. Like, I know it's crazy to say, but I'd much rather it be a little bit lower so I can continue to build my position. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. The price, the price is a byproduct of success, right? So one time we were at 1 penny. So, and now we're at, $1.40, something like that. I checked the other day and it was like $1.50 or something like that. It's all relative, because I mined Ethereum when it was $2.50. Didn't care. You know what I mean? Like you just got to think of it that way. Now, addressing the point of the question where we talked about what's the biggest challenge for 2022, hands down, without a doubt, is to separate ourselves from the white noise that is starting to happen with Web3. Great news is people are starting to educate themselves to Web3. You saw Jack Dorsey, you saw Elon Musk, you saw other players in the space. I literally saw a tweet the other night where it was Ted Cruz, Gene Simmons, and Elon Musk. I'm like, what a motley crew to be talking about Web3. They said something about Web3. I'm like, I need to go to bed because I got Gene Simmons tweeting that something that Elon Musk tweeted, and then Ted Cruz agreeing to what Gene Simmons said. It's what the hell is going on? So people are starting to get educated to it, and it's great. I love it. So those are all good parts. The biggest challenge I see coming down the pike is to separate ourselves from the rest of the frothy FOMO, projects that are like, stake a whole bunch and burn a whole bunch, and then you'll get like a 10,000, interest rate on your money. It's hard for us to, and the reason why these things are so important for us is we look for a particular type of investor, a particular type of individual who understands community, who understands decentralization, who understands that you have to work hard. So we're seasoned. That's a nice way to put it. Ollie, I'm seasoned, right? I've been down that road. I'm not going to buy, your monkey apes or whatever the hell they are in NFTs. Not going to do it. Not going to fall into that. I am all about this project and moving forward with the technology. And I think us separating from some of those other projects in the space who are doing a disservice to the retail folks, they're doing a disservice to the enterprise folks. I mean, it's really, I don't need to drop names, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, just pulling away from the pack and just keeping doing what we're doing. We are the leader of Web3. We will be the leader of Web3. There are other projects doing what we're doing in a decentralized manner. And we're going to make sure we put enough space between what they're doing now and what we're doing in the future that it isn't going to matter. We got a 4-year head start, guys, and we're going to make the most out of it.
All right, so let's take the next question. Or I can take this question actually. So do you need to create a new wallet in Zelco for every node provided? You don't have to. You can have one wallet and you can set up multiple nodes on that. Now, if you want to have multiple wallets, you can go ahead and do it, but it is not required. So to keep it simple, I would suggest just have one wallet and run all your nodes on that.
Yeah.
All right. So
we'll do 2 more. Let's grab Lucas's about if Flux moons to $15, an emergency node happening.
Okay, here we go. So what happens if Flux goes to the moon 2.0 to $15 or so? Will there be an emergency node happening so people can still set up nodes for relatively cheap?
No. So why is that important? That means you have to be ready. You know what I mean? Like the node happenings are specifically geared toward infrastructure development. So the reason we do node happenings isn't because of the price. I could give 2 craps about that, right? If you have to pay to play. I mean, that's just the way it is. If you want to be a miner, you spend. Oh my God, miners, like some of these rigs that I see. God, somebody had one. I want to say it was one of these miners that had this massive ass rig. I mean, $100,000 at least, if not more. If you can spend $100,000 on mining rigs to enter the space, you can definitely do it for nodes. So we're not going to cater to the price at all. So that's why being in and developing your infrastructure now will be rewarded. And by the way, if we would do something like that emergency halving, it's going to piss off the people who have deployed. They were the pragmatic people. They were the people that knew that this was coming. They set their infrastructure up. They got everything ready to go. They're deploying on the network. They're ready to rock and roll. And if we come in the 11th hour and say, guess what, guys, price is up and now you got to do this shit again, we're not going to do that. The only way we'll do these node halvings is when we reach critical mass on our network. We'll know it because we'll see it coming, and we'll say, all right, look, we need to get another 5 million instances deployed. We need another halving. So that's the only time I see these things put into play. And by the way, if we're $15, congratulations to all of you who were there at the get-go. You guys were there. You guys deserve the rewards. You guys deserve to be able to be running the infrastructure. Simple as that. So,
I think Dan,
I think we'll be there and then some. But that's
I think you put a good point, because a lot of community and a lot of people were thinking that the halving is only happening because the price went up and the barrier for entry point is very difficult. I get that. But this is not about the price, guys. This is about expanding our network, right? The resources we require and everything. It's never about. It was never been about the price. You guys were just lucky that we are just doing it. I mean, it got a little bit easier for everybody to get entered. But yeah, it's not gonna happen just because of the price.
Yeah, and keep in mind the Cirrus nodes are specifically designed to lower the barrier of entry for people that want to participate and be part of the network. And their incentivization comes from clients and customers that are deploying from the marketplace to utilize their resources. So, the way we fix the issue is if you can't do enterprise infrastructure, and by the way, enterprise infrastructure it's freaking expensive to do it in a business model, like to stand up a data center. I can easily, I tell you, I run nodes. I mean, that in a data center world, I don't even know what that is. So, realistically, you have to set in your mind exactly what the requirements are, and we have to hold people accountable to it, and we have to ensure that their investment is protected as well. So, we reduced barrier of entry in the Cirrus. Go in there, 5 flux, deploy, run, get rewarded. Great, right? But we're not going to mess with the enterprise side of this. This is going to be. It's going to be consistent. It's going to be well developed. It's going to scale as needed. These are all important things to make sure that you have longevity to the project. So we'll do one more question, Ollie, and then we'll wrap it up.
All right. So, all right. Let's
don't everybody leave, because I want to say something at the end. So just
okay. So let's take this question. I think its question is, here we go. So last question, guys. So if my flux mining rig meets a node requirement, can I use it for both, or it's better to separate?
I think it's always better to separate them.
Yeah, you could run it.
You can
run it.
Yeah, you can run it. You can run it. I'm not saying it's the same way. When people say they have their Zelcore on the same rig that they're mining on, you don't do that. That's just it's just best practices to keep those things separated. And by the way, I wouldn't run Zelcore. Personally, I don't run Zelcore on a computer that I use for normal work. I have a computer that's specifically for Zelcore, and I keep it super protected, and that's what I use. If you're safe and secure, don't try to skimp and say, I'm not going to invest the resources, I'll run it on this. Because if you're running it on your mining node and something happens and you miss the benchmark, you're now down, and now you're a toaster. So, now your rig's down and your nodes down. So the whole idea of passive income is to create different models, not do them all in the same. That's super centralized. That's Web 2 philosophy, man. Get it on 2 different devices, decentralize it. All right, guys. It's been a great little update in AMA. I'll come back on Tuesday and we'll knock out anyone's questions that I didn't get to in the AMA section. I apologize. We'll knock them out this week. You guys are hot and heavy asking questions. So again, real quick recap. We have the Miami event coming up the 6th, 7th, and 8th. We have our poker tournament. Sign up tonight. I believe there's one running tonight or today in my world, right? Tonight, go sign up. Win some flux, man. There's a grand prize. I think it's a couple hundred flux. If I'm not mistaken, I'll like win some flux, and maybe I'll go play. I always get beat by knocked out by Rome or somebody
all
like
the
that.
time. He wins
all
all
the
the
damn
time.
time. He wins all the time. It's not fair. It's not fair. And guys, Halving coming up. It's already started. We've got the snapshot. We'll have more AMAs. I have Goose has started doing his podcasts again. What is it called? It's not. It used to be the core, but it's something Flux Notes or
yeah.
Big shout
I
out to
forgot.
Goose. Yeah.
Yeah, he started doing that recently.
And we're gonna start up reloading those podcasts, and I'm gonna be doing like the Angry Man Dan podcast, like once a week or something like that, where we're gonna be on Spotify and iTunes and all those places. So if you guys, I'll announce it when it comes out, and I'll do like 15 minutes of me just complaining about whatever it is, What grinds my gears with Peter Griffin, right? So that's what it is. So all right, everybody, have a great rest of the day. Let's build the future today. And thank you all for everything you do, guys. Good community. Thank you, guys, and have a good day.